Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I am your host, Mike Byrne, aka magicman. We've got free-to-play games, we've got reveals, we've got new games, we've got Nintendo Switch. I don't know. Well, whatever. We'll get to some basic opinions on that. This is episode 199, recording on October 20th, 2016, and airing on the 21st. So let's get to the host first. On the line, Mr. Stallion, Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I will probably not be buying a Nintendo Switch because the last console I bought was a PlayStation 2.
Wow. Just not a console gamer, or don't like spending the money, or what is it?
Just been into PC gaming more so.
All right, fair enough, fair enough.
So I probably bought a console before some of the people watching this were alive. Probably the last time I bought it.
Also on the line, Miss Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
Look, new colors.
Yeah, so we keep rotating around the room.
No, completely different room.
Oh, shit. So
Oh, okay.
we're just relocating throughout the entire apartment.
Just put her on like a lazy Susan and spin her around.
And that you said that paint can be drawn on?
I've been told this paint can be drawn on. So it's like because apparently this was the kids' room for the people that lived here before us. They weren't supposed to be apartment, but they did. Okay. And apparently the purple paint can be drawn on. But this is the final office, so right, if anything, it'll just be a.
If there's not some spectacular artwork there next week,
right?
You're fired from the podcast. You gotta have something.
Yeah, I mean you got next week off. So let's get some chalk and start drawing up there. Let's get ready and go over to the news. All right, before we get to the news here, I mean, there were a couple different things that popped out over the last 24 hours that I did want to hit really quickly here. And we kind of touched on one already. Just your general thoughts. I know, free-to-play, buy-to-play, whatever. Just your general thoughts on Nintendo NX becoming Nintendo Switch, getting the full reveal as far as being handheld and console. I think my biggest, this could be interesting, this might lead somewhere on the free-to-play side, is the whole esports thing they showed at the end of the trailer, where there were some people playing, esports related. I think they were playing Splatoon, but obviously other games could fall in that category, handheld wise, and then taking it straight to console. So just your general thoughts on the system. Of course, I'll be buying it, and Legend of Zelda is considered a launch title for March of next year, so absolutely Nintendo got my money. That one's pretty easy. Jason, you're not buying it, but what were your general impressions?
I'm not buying it. But yeah, I agree. I mean, it looks kind of neat. It's like it's a hybrid between a handheld and a console. So I think the portability of that is really going to weigh into things and make it a pretty popular little device. Now, the one thing I'm hearing about from a few people is what's the battery power like?
Right.
So that could be a pretty big negative, I guess, on that front. But maybe if it's used more as a like a sort of in trans. Well, I guess still if you want for like a car trip or something, you're still going to need it for several hours or whatever. But yeah, probably not something you want to necessarily take on really long trips, I guess. Maybe more of a like go to the office, sitting on the bus kind of thing, or on the train and getting there and back every day. But maybe not the long multi-hour trip to grandma's or whatever.
I like that they're going back to cartridges. Am I the only one that cares? I thought that was cool. There's a lot more that they can do with a cartridge that you can't do with a disc at this point with the technologies. Q, were you taking a look at the Nintendo Switch at all?
So the funny thing is I was messaging with Justin Kennedy earlier today, and he's actually messaged me, and he goes, "Nintendo just won the console war."
I don't know if I go that far.
Wait, what? I was just like, what? So he sends me the link, and I think my response to him was, oh my God. And then I immediately went and told Barney that we have to buy this.
So you'll be getting it?
I think so, yeah.
Very interesting. I do like the esports implications. Shows a little bit of forethought on Nintendo's part. Now, I liked the third-party reveal, all the partnerships that they have. That's nice to see after the Wii U kind of collapsed on that front. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. On the free-to-play front, briefly, again, I will go to Jason mainly for this one. Star Wars The Old Republic, totally revamping its loot system. 5 years into its MMO life, totally revamping the way it does endgame loot. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, what they're going to do is instead of like having you go to like a raid or an operation, I guess it's called, and the bosses drop loot. I think it's the same way in the flashpoints. When it only counts to when you get to max level. Up to before max level, you're going to be just the same as any way you've done it before. But at max level, the way you're going to get your loot is you're going to gain points. What do they call Galactic Command XP? When you gain Galactic Command levels, you'll get a loot box. It'll have some stuff in it. The higher your Galactic Command level as you go along, the better the loot will be. So, yeah, instead of just killing a boss and maybe rolling with the other guys in your operation over who gets the cool chest piece, you'll gain some points to it, get some points to your XP, and when you get enough, you can open up a loot box. So, kind of almost feels like what a lot of other games have been doing. Guild Wars 2 has done that with some of their loot. Feels kind of like Overwatch almost, like you level up there, you get a loot box. The thing is, though, does it really work as the source of endgame loot? To have the randomized boxes. It's like if we're both in the operation together, I need boots, you already got the boots, and you get your loot box, and it gets more boots. You don't care. It's probably going to be bound on equip or bound on acquire, so I can't get it.
Yeah.
The other question is to how much XP you're going to get in the operations, the tough content, as opposed to the solo stuff. You just farm that stuff up forever. Get your loot boxes. So
right, what do I need my guild for anymore?
Yeah, exactly. That's the one guy on Reddit was wondering about. So
yeah, it seems to me like a reversion cue to some of the earlier process. Like if you played World of Warcraft back in like Burning Crusade and even into Wrath of the Lich King, you farmed up whatever it was at that point, Justice points or whatever, and then you just went and bought the piece of gear that you wanted for whatever tier set that you were building for, which I'm fine with. I like the idea, like Jason, that in those early stages, it was just running dungeons and raids that got you those points, opening up the ability to do multiple things to earn those points and play the way you want to play. I love that. I don't like the random aspect of it. If you're going to make me farm something up, Q, then at least just let me go grab what I want to grab. Tell me how many points it costs, and I'll farm up that many points, and let's go get it.
Yeah, I still don't. I just do not like random loot. Random loot drops, fine. Random loot boxes or like the whole system of, and yeah, again, with the farming up your stuff, like if you're already doing the work to farm for certain items, then it's pretty much soul crushing when that's never the item you get. Or, like, I wouldn't do it. I there's just no way I would not farm up all these points to get a loot box to maybe get the item I need. Like, no.
Yeah, that's the part. And Jason, I think you said it best in the little editorial that you wrote about it. It's you really need gloves and you get the boots for the third frickin' time. Mm-hmm. That's really disheartening, and then those points are gone. You got to farm up some more points. No, but you can
trade in the boots to get more points towards another box, so you'll get even more boots. So at least there's that.
Right. So, I mean, you're not
I just can't with them anymore.
Yeah, you're not totally assed out. You're going to get some of those points, but... And this is the general consensus. Most people kind of like, oh, all right, I get what you're doing here, but it's the random element that seems to be the biggest problem with this. So, and perhaps even more stunning, this is also dependent on a sub.
Yeah, you have to have a subscription to do this. But as I said, it's at max. It's only at max level anyway. So I'm kind of okay with, once you're at max level, having to pay to really enjoy endgame. I can kind of go with that. I'm not really up in arms about that aspect of it. So, but yeah, you don't gain XP. You don't gain Galactic Command XP if you don't have a sub.
Yeah, and on our friend, Star Wars Old Republic guru Larry Everett over at Massively OP wrote a very, very lengthy talking about the next update, and they're doing a couple of really good things, the whole Dark versus Light, new group content, stuff like that, but then really broke down the command rank, and And he even pointed out that Star Wars has kind of done something like this before at one point where PvP gear was earned through RNG boxes as well. So it's not unprecedented for them, but
that was really unpopular too, though.
Yeah, it was really unpopular at the time. So now they're doing it to the PvP side or PvE side of things. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. All right, so let's get to some real news here. Q, this one's going to be yours here because you just love you some hi-rez. You are all about the hi-rez. So 2 days ago, hi-rez tweeted a little mysterious tweet that they were going to be revealing a new game yesterday on October 19th during their typical SMITE patch notes stream. And they did so, and so we had 24 hours to sit here and speculate, and of course, you know, the few among us in the back rooms of MMO Bomb were speculating on a CCG or, you know, some other game that just comes out of nowhere, boom, all of a sudden Hearthstone, yeah, whoa, all of a sudden Bethesda, boom, has an Elder Scrolls version, you know, something like that. We also, what we would like to see, you know, but even though we knew it wasn't going to be on the table, a big MMORPG, maybe in a Tribes universe or a Global Agenda 2, or of course the stuff we wanted to see, but knew this probably wasn't going to be that. And then it was revealed yesterday that it's going to be borrowing from the SMITE IP, a new turn-based strategy game called SMITE Tactics, where you are one of the gods from SMITE. At launch, it will include 4 of the current pantheons, and then the rest of the pantheons will be introduced after launch. And, of course, just like everything that's being released now, there is a card element to this, where you are battling your two gods against each other in 1v1 play, and making your own army of minions that is based on a card deck. I'm going to be honest right up front, I was a little underwhelmed by the entire thing, but I'm going to throw it to you, Q. You love hi-rez. What'd you think about this? The game, the reveal, what were your thoughts?
Okay, so first of all, when he says that we were all hoping that it would be an MMO, we were not all hoping it would be an MMO. So,
what were you hoping?
I'm just saying. I wasn't really hoping it would be anything. I just wasn't hoping for an MMO. No, I just
given up.
But I actually like this, and it is kind of weird for hi-rez to a certain extent because everybody's used to, you know, more like faster paced games and everything from them. But I actually just did an interview with another developer that's doing a turn-based MMO. And that was, you know, one of the things we were talking about, like why you would go and do that. And one of the things he said, and it makes a lot of sense, is that it actually makes the game more accessible to people. There can still be a high, like for the hardcore people, there can still be a lot of hardcore stuff in it, but with the way turn-based works, it actually makes things more accessible to much younger people and older people who don't have, you know, the twitchiness that they used to. So I kind of like the idea. I just, I don't know, I'll have to actually sit down and play it before I decide if I like the game or not, but I do like the idea.
Yeah, it's really hard to make a decision, Jason, right now on the game itself. We've seen virtually nothing of it besides a trailer that kind of took us through the whole. It started as a couple of hi-rez employees playing a paper version that they were making up, and then somebody kind of seeing it and saying, "Hey, well, let's see what we can do with this digitally," and working out. I like the aspect of one-on-one. You know, I enjoy Atlas Reactor to a certain extent for its strategic gameplay, its turn-based play, its chess-based kind of mentality, but then the dependence on other people can also get very frustrating. So I kind of like this as a scaled-back 1v1 experience. A little, obviously, not as lucky, you know, as a Hearthstone maybe or something like that, but I was totally just underwhelmed with the reveal. What were your thoughts, Jason?
It's kind of funny that we've gone on. I've certainly thought at times that MMOs or these kind of games or whatever, they've hyped themselves up for months and months and months and months, and then finally do the big reveal, and everyone's kind of disappointed by it or let down, whatever. And then they did this for they revealed like a day before, and we're still let down by it.
Yeah.
but in general, we're talking about the game itself, though. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's probably because, like, even just with you guys chatting in chat, you were building up some bizarre possible expectations of what the game might be, which is why I never expected it to take long.
I disagree. Nobody in our chat when we were talking about this was like, "Oh, it's gonna be this." We thought it was gonna be something small, like a CCG, but then we started talking about what we would like it to be in a totally unrealistic world.
But going on about the game itself, now it's funny that you mentioned Atlas Reactor, because that's what I thought at first when I saw, tactical game, going to be a board game kind of thing. I thought, okay, so kind of like Atlas Reactor. But then looking at the video, talking about it being one-on-one, looking at the cards, it's really duelist.
Yeah.
It's much more duelist, much more of a card game with a board element as opposed to a board game with a card element. That's what it looks like to me, at least. So
yeah.
I think it fits more into that kind of phase of things than something more like Atlas Reactor.
No, that's totally. I would absolutely agree with that. And I think one of the Twitch was less than impressed with the reveal live. There were about 15,000 people watching it. But I think some of that, or a great deal of that, is that the video really didn't do itself any favors, Q. The video, what it showed of the game, made it look more like a card game than a strategy game. And immediately the Twitch stream, of course, started, it's SMITE Hearthstone, kind of missing that the cards were not quite just a sitting there card game. There was more going on that the video really didn't go into too much depth about.
Well, I mean, it is hi-rez too, and they do have a tendency to reveal their games very early so that they can get the players involved in the development process. So 10-1, whatever we're looking at right now anyway, is not what it's going to be at the end. It's just like Paladins. How much has Paladins changed since the day they told everybody about the game? Like, it's just... completely different. And SMITE, they did the same thing. They started it as one thing and then worked with people and it became the other. Like, that's just their MO. So
yeah, and they said that during the stream, that closed beta is hopefully sometime before the end of this year. We're already at the beginning of November just about here. And they said, so us, that could mean that we'll let players in next week. It could mean December 31st. That's just the way it is with us.
But it is funny, though. They haven't called it a card game in any way.
No.
They're staying away from that intentionally.
Yeah.
But they also, it may change into a card game later on, though. That's the thing, is like it might, just the way they develop games, it might change in the process and suddenly be a card game.
But the basic game, I think, is going to still be the same. And Paladins is still about taking your guys in the arena and advancing the payload or whatever. They change how the cards work and how you advance, whatever, but that's still basically it. This is still going to be a board game where you play with a god and you play cards. How all that goes exactly might be different, but the basic function of it is still going to be the same.
All right, so we'll be asking your opinion about that one a little later in the show. Let's move on here. Jump one ahead just for a second because I'm trying to pull something else up in the background here. Cloud Pirates is getting ready to launch its next closed beta phase today, actually. So if you are in the betas for that, then you can go ahead and jump in. We'll be having a giveaway for some closed beta keys later this week, running all through next week, so you can enter for a chance to win those as well. But more importantly, they released their Founders Packs, and they're typical pretty much across the board. But they did take a step in the direction that Jason Winters wanted game developers to take, and about getting your friends in-game. What particularly did you like about these Founders Packs that we don't really see across the board, Jason?
Well, what they did is if you have a Founders Pack, you can invite 1 to 3 friends into the beta along with you, people who aren't paying, depending on what kind of Founders Pack you have, how big and deluxe yours is. And that really is a great idea. It lets them get more people into the game, build up a little more hype while still requiring at least some, cash investment, along the way. In addition, lets them get more people in to test out the servers, and almost just as importantly, lets you bring in those friends so that you have someone to kind of play this game with right from the start, and they don't have to make that monetary commitment. You can be the alpha gamer who's really interested in this game, pay whatever is $100 or whatever for the big pack, and get 3 friends or 3 guildmates from another game to jump in with you right from the start, right from as soon as the beta doors open, and you all can try it out and see what you think about it. So that's a really good idea, I think.
And I kind of dig the game. I still kind of dig it. I got my email today saying, hey, the beta's back up and running, and I'm gonna pop in a couple of times this weekend. I dig it. On the not so good news front, though, United Front Games, which you may know for Sleeping Dogs, of course, but in the free-to-play world, Triad Wars, the less than stellar knockoff of the universe from Sleeping Dogs, I guess, the game there. United Front Games is rumored to have closed, and this rumor is now 3 days old. And it's not really a rumor in what we normally get as rumors, Q. I mean, this is employees talking about we're closing. Their latest game, Smash and Grab on Steam, is now offering refunds and saying that they're not going to continue development. I mean, you're closing at this point, but we still, as of this recording, don't have official word from United Front Games on any outlet that this Vancouver-based studio is closing. What the hell's going on here?
They're secretly going to start making pachinko machines.
So they're going to go the, who was it? The Konami route, isn't it? We're not going to make games anymore. We're just going to make these little machines. So yeah.
They're going with the firefall method of alerting players about their...
Yeah, and it's all just reportedly closed. Their Facebook doesn't have anything on there. Their Twitter doesn't have anything on there yet. It's just, what the hell is going on here, Jason?
Probably illegal money, something or other, would be my guess.
So we're not going to get a Sleeping Dogs 2?
No. Although, actually, someone has said that Square Enix actually owns that IP, so... We could, but it just won't be by United Front.
Yeah, and that's why Square Enix's name was all over Triad Wars, too. Since the same universe and everything. I gotta say, obviously our hearts go out to anybody affected job-wise with this situation, and we hope you're back on your feet very quickly. It sucks to be in that situation. I've been there. But I can't... Is it mean to say that this isn't a surprise to me, Q? I mean, we haven't seen anything come out of United Front Games since Sleeping Dogs that really went anywhere. Yes? No? Q? She's just staring into oblivion.
I think she might have frozen. Q, are you there?
I guess she is frozen.
Oh, there she is.
There she is.
We've got motion.
Oh my god, okay.
I thought you moved to someplace that actually had internet as opposed to the cans and string.
The town we're living in is like maybe 2 miles wide and has a couple thousand people in it.
No excuse.
So not surprised by this, were you?
No, I mean, and I don't think it's mean for you to say that you're not surprised.
Okay.
What would be mean to say would be, well, good, they deserved it.
Oh.
Which I'm sure there are people all over the internet that are doing that, or will be once it's finally announced. Like, it happens every time.
Well, the guy who decided that Triad Wars should be asynchronous, he deserves it. The rest of them maybe not, but that guy definitely.
So brutal. So we'll wait to receive official word from United Front Games, but I mean, when they take to their own Steam page and work with Valve to start offering refunds and publicly saying in those posts we're no longer developing anything for this game, I think that pretty much confirms it without confirming it.
We just have one more memorial to the orange MMO bomb car from Triad Wars.
Moment of silence.
I miss that car so bad.
Moment of silence for the MMO bomb car. You will be missed. All right, before we slide over to the bombs, speaking of cars, they posted a first look this week for Heavy Metal Machines, which honestly, on my radar, it came out of frickin' nowhere. I had no clue about this game at all until I got an email and then was playing it a few hours later and posting a first look a few hours after that. No clue. Go ahead and check out the first look, but the basic gist of it is 4v4 vehicular combat, picking up a bomb, running it to your opponent's base, do that 3 times, and you win the match. And of course, all the cars have their own unique characteristics and abilities and various ultimate abilities abilities. So it's very MOBA in its control scheme. Q, W, E, and R are your abilities, and then you'll use the mouse for movement. Check out the first look. Somebody said it looks like Micro Machines, and yeah, it really does if you remember Micro Machines. I played it. Before we get your guys' take on it, right now, there is, and it's still in beta, it's not even slated to be released until 2017, so I'm hopeful that more gets added to this. But right now, it is, to me, just a cursory experience. If you're looking for something to knock out a few hours, or you have 3 friends and you want to go play a different game that isn't, League of Legends or what you're playing currently, it's a mild distraction, but with multiple maps and characters, but only one primary game mode right now, it's not going to hold your attention all that long. I mentioned this in the first look, Jason. There's got to be a racing mode introduced at some point. The game just lends itself to that type of gameplay. Maybe tweak it a bit as far as being killed a little easier, because it does take a while to be killed in some cases. All in all, this one is just a cursory distraction for me. It isn't visually impressive. It isn't. It tries to be funny, but it kind of misses that mark for me a little bit. And it's very early in the process, so I don't want to berate it too badly, but it's just a mild distraction in my book, Jason. Not even a full game yet.
I think if you could bring in 3 friends, you'd quadruple their active player base, because you were apparently the only person online. Yeah,
and I honestly think that I must have... the beta started at 4 Eastern yesterday, and I started playing at like 4:02. I think I posted the first look at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I played it for about an hour or so before I actually recorded. And even at that point, I was still the only one queuing up for AI against bots. PvP, I just sat there. I never got queued for that. And even with 4 AI versus bots, it just paired me up with 3 computer AI friends, and we went against 4 bots that I was able to stand in one place, trigger one ability, and let one of them just circle around me, soaking up the damage until it died. So it wasn't a challenge or anything at that level. This is a cursory distraction to me. It's just not ready for prime time yet. Hopefully a lot more gets added before release in 2017. What were your thoughts, Jason?
I mean, I thought it could be kind of interesting if you actually had other people to play with. Yeah, you playing against the bots was kind of dull, really. Yeah, they weren't any kind of challenge. Your teammates were stupid. And you couldn't even yell at them like you would in a normal MOBA. But yeah, I mean, it sort of reminds me. It's almost like a mobile version of Huckball, almost, or whatever that Amazon game, Breakaway. Yeah, taking the ball, get it to the person's goal. I don't know that you necessarily need a race mode, because it basically is a race. You're trying to get to the end of the track. It's just twisty and whatever, and that helps because people can take those shortcuts. You couldn't go through those yellow lines and you had the ball. So, I mean, it kind of made sense on that level. Would be a lot more interesting to see how it would work with other people, though. Right now, yeah, it's kind of meh.
Q, thoughts? All right, awesome. Q's frozen, looking to the other side of the screen.
That's why we need her to draw something on the wall, so something to look at while she's frozen there.
Right?
Wait,
is she back now? No, she's not back. All right,
never mind. All right.
Let's slide over to the weekly bombs. Oh, I love Q's internet. I love it. I'm going to go first because I've kind of already tipped mine. An A-bomb to the hi-rez reveal. I didn't expect something huge, but it was just a tad underwhelming to me, what was revealed there. Q, before you freeze again, what's your weekly bomb?
Oh, I'll just give an A-bomb to my internet, apparently. I mean, obviously, this is
How astute.
I'm done now, right? I can go.
Go ahead, Jason.
I'm going to give an A-bomb to SWTOR's loot system, not so much just because of what it was, but how it was communicated and revealed. When you're doing something that major to your end game, to your progression system, you don't just do a forum post with like 5 bullet points that then runs 100 pages long because people have about 1 million questions for it. That's the sort of thing that requires, something more elaborate, some sort of real post or developer video or something like that isn't just going to be stuck somewhere on the forums and, again, talked about on Reddit. There's like 500 threads or 500 comments to it on Reddit. Just not the greatest way to handle something of that importance, I think.
Absolutely agree. From the viewers, Hellsworth says, as for bombs, A-bomb for hype. I just can't get it anymore, since everything I look in the gaming industry seems a rehash or remake, or even partialized part of someone's game remade into another. Dub-bomb for Skyforge, for the new systems got me and my friends hooked up on grinding, and I'm liking the new Outlaw class, although maybe it's because it feels OP. At least they're being honest about it. Go ahead, Q.
Oh, you actually want me to try to read?
Oh, yeah.
We'll pick up midway if you freeze.
Nickel CM says, Dub-bomb to Istrolite, a great time waster for a game for when you're waiting for updates to download or during maintenance. Daybreak Games should create a game called World of Exile Guardian Paladins Legend League Edition. The new and improved Battle Arena TCG MMORPG $420 Founder Pack comes with closed beta access and extra inventory slots, epic level shiny cards, and much, much more. How could such a game fail? A question for the host: what is the most you have spent on a single purchase in a cash shop? Which game was it, and what was the item?
I would not buy that Founders Pack. That is probably the one Founders Pack I would not buy. Jason, what's the most expensive item you've ever bought in a cash shop?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've never been a big cash shop spender guy. I don't think I've spent more than $10 on anything at once, unless you count the $25 I paid to transfer a character in Lotro to do a server transfer. Not necessarily cash shop, but sort of an additional microtransaction.
That counts to me.
All right.
What about you, Q?
I don't even remember it might have been items, but I think the most I spent in a cash shop was about $50, and it was in Ether Saga.
Oh, wow. There's a name. Look at you just name dropping. Does the Founders Pack count?
No, that's fine.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So.
I mean, because I just threw 100.
Otherwise, you count like all the special editions and whatever crap.
Yeah, but I do regret throwing $100 at Landmark, knowing that I wasn't gonna play it more than the one time I played it. So I do regret that one. As far as cash shop itself in game, I think in Riders of Icarus, as far as recently, I just completed like an $80 purchase of a number of mounts and in-game currency, or not in-game currency, the cash shop currency to buy other things. It wasn't one particular item. I was doing a bunch of things, but the final bill ended up being like $80 or $90. I don't really buy like the super uber mounts and stuff like that are really expensive. Go ahead, Jason.
All right, the Nico Juju says, Dub-bomb to Elsword for hooking me back into the game with the new Transcendence update. Finally, the game gives me a reason to try and cap my characters with new skills and all. Plus, since the new PvP season has started up this week, all of our ranks got reset, but I got my S rank back after my first 10 matches, so I'm happy now. Now I'm going to try to reach SSS and be the top tactical trooper in North America. Never going to happen. Also, we got that sexy KR launcher. Sexy.
Yeah, we covered that update on the site there. Lots of people looking forward to that one. Proximity HD says, I give an A-bomb to every single person claiming that Black Desert Online is pay to win. Oh, if Zach were here. It's clearly not, and people keep going around like a lynch mob saying BDO is a bad game, when in fact it's probably one of the best out there at the moment. Even though Cacao Games don't do what they promised, at least they care about the player base to give free items and XP weekends, GM's blessings when servers are down or laggy. Also recently they were giving a free boss armor box that was botched, but since it was botched while they didn't know it wasn't going to work, they're giving everyone who opened the botch box a new free one. While Cacao Games is so horrible, please, let's compare Cacao Games to the other MMO companies such as Snail Games, Area Games, NCSoft, etc., etc. Out of these companies I've just talked to, they're 90% better than all of them. I hesitate to talk about Black Desert Online because I'd be talking out my ass. I own it. I'm like midway to the level cap, the soft level cap, so it's just been way too long. So if BDO is pay to win in your book, put it in the comments so that Proximity can reply to every single one of you. We're going to jump and go to Jason for this one since it's a little longer, and we'll give Q the shorter one.
Just in case, I understand. Bizod BZ says, I got an A-bomb for War Thunder for having the worst matchmaking system in the history of gaming. That's a pretty tall order there. No matter what you do, you'll always face tanks or planes that are one tier higher than you, and you won't be able to do jack shit to them. Made a complaint to Guy Gene about this, and they said, your team has just as many high-tier tanks, planes as your enemies, so it does balance out. And I'm like, what about the other people that are facing those tanks? They can't even kill them from the side, and they basically said, suck it up. 10 of 10 customer service. But is that what the email actually said? Dear player, suck it up. Signed, Guy Gene, customer service.
Oh.
Go ahead,
every
Q.
game has terrible matchmaking. That's every one of them.
Go ahead, Q. Finish it up.
All right, Void says, you gotta love Q in her different locations she's streaming from each week. Yeah, this is the last location, though. This is the last. I might just angle it, but it's the last.
Question of the week last week. What is you watching Revelation Online? Are you eagerly awaiting it, or is it just another game in the pile for you? Hellsworth says, every MMORPG is just another MMO on the pile for me nowadays. I just try them all, and the ones that get me thinking about it during the days are the ones I end up playing along. As for Revelation, looking forward to it. It kind of feels like Ion Terra mix. It should be fun, but as always, Asian high-end grinding content means nothing to us Westerners, so my left foot is back there on the other room. So kind of
I'm liking this Hellsworth guy. He's cynical and grumpy like me.
I'm pretty sure it might be you commenting under an alternate ID. Go ahead, Jason.
Could. Void says, the question of the week, I am genuinely excited for Revelation Online. Screw you, buddy. No, I'm genuinely excited for Revelation Online as I signed up for beta months ago. Combat feels fun, graphics and cutscenes look impressive. Can't say much about the story and other features yet, but let's just hope for mature Final Fantasy XIV par quality. As I mentioned, 14 above, debunked at today's fan festival, next expansion Stormblood announcement.
Yep. It's early summer next year. Getting my new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, Q. Go ahead, take the next one.
All right, Nicholas Sims says, I've been looking forward to a new MMORPG that I could get into from the beginning. The Spirit Shaper class shows promise. I like running as a healer, and I also like being able to summon creatures. The art style is nice, graphics seems okay, but it seems to lack a storyline, and open world PvP is always a concern for me.
That's the number one concern for me. I hate PvP when it is forced on me, Jason, when it is forced on me. And so we'll have to see how that plays out in the open world. Ron Harris, I've watched about 50 videos on Revelation Online. There's a lot of depth in this game, a lot for the PvPer and PvEer alike. While it is traditional, I think there's enough there to really put some time in. This game, I think, will be a sleeper hit if my.com stays reasonable. And I get more and more hopeful for that outlook, Jason, as I see the changes they make in Skyforge.
Sure.
I liked where I maybe didn't like where they start, or maybe don't like where they're at now, but I like where they're going and their willingness to evolve, at least. You got to appreciate that. Go ahead, take the next one, Jason.
All right, Logan Shock says, for your question of the week, yes, I am looking forward to Revelation Online. I saw the MMO featured on some ads and Twitter and elsewhere, and my interest was piqued. I've seen some few videos of the game. It looks really, really neat. I haven't played, touched, or even looked at MMOs for the past 3 years. It's been a while.
Oh, wow. Revelation Online bringing Logan back from the MMO dead. Wow. Go ahead, Q.
All right, Father J. Well, the graphics and combat mostly. I also love how they gave you the different types of combat options, so at least people have options. I also love how gears there are not just recolors, but actual different gears. So it's a big plus. Here's just hoping I would have a good ping from where I play.
Don't play from Q's house. Faith Edutech says, somebody did advise me to play Rev Online thing. It looks good, but I only play MMOs to complain about the game mechanics in guild chat. So it's all about how good is the community and how awful are the game mechanics.
You know, everybody plays in their own way. That's totally valid.
You know what?
I like this guy.
Yeah, find Faith. I hope you find a way to play this, and they need to find a way that Faith can accrue endgame currency, playing the way they want to play. Go ahead, Jason. Finish it up.
Tommy Berrien says, not excited about Revelation Online. Sure, I'll check it out, but it just looks like any other MMO out right now. Also on how my.com is handling Skyforge, I don't think I want to spend too much time on this one. So he's kind of against what we were saying with the
weird
change. I've heard some bad things. People have said some awful things about it, about the new Skyforge stuff. I have to check that out myself. Continued. Also to bomb the Guild Wars 2 Halloween event. Hope the achievements gets me to 29,000 this week, where I can get my first pinnacle weapon skin, because it's all about Fashion Wars. Wow, 29. Ugh. I'm at like 16,000. I
was gonna say, is that good, bad? I don't know.
That's a lot. That's probably like top 100 worldwide or something.
Wow. Question of the week next week. Obviously, what are your thoughts on SMITE Tactics? Go ahead, take a look at the video. We've got it posted at mmobomb.com, so you can see exactly what they showed off in the stream. We also answer some of the basic questions that if you missed the stream, we did include them in the article. So check it out. Check out the website, although there's not much on their website yet. Check it out. Let us know what you think of SMITE Tactics in the comments below. Of course, make sure you leave your weekly bomb, dub bomb for something good, a bomb for something bad in the world of gaming, or if you have a question for the panel next week, it'll be myself, Jason, and Zach, so go ahead and throw a question there if you like. Until next week, Q, where can everybody find you?
On Twitter at Quinlan and in the pink and purple room.
Mr. Winter.
Find me on Twitter at WinterInformal and streaming on twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1, MAGICKMAN1. Of course, follow MMO Bomb at MMO Bomb on Twitter so that you get pinged with every giveaway, first look, preview, editorial, and article that we put up on the site. You get your news like that. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.